All right, good afternoon, cyber traders, and welcome on back here. Top of the month, might I say, to all of us live here, joining us here this Wednesday, December 1st, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and welcome on back for our afternoon meeting. Great to see all of our students, to which I am blocking the chat board myself right there. Great to see Norman, great to see Michael, great to see Kathleen, and all of us joining us live right now. Welcome on back, and of course, if you're joining us on social media, Facebook Live or YouTube, likewise, welcome on back to you as well. So great to see Alex, Ron, Gary, Patrick still joining us here. Aloha as well. So let's hop right into the thick of it. AHI, number 2 on the percent gainers list right now. But man, this was making like a real choppy, like volatile move up. Doesn't mean that it's going to make for a great trade across this afternoon, but I'll tell you, it's holding pretty strong so long as it holds like actually right here and starts to get going right now. Then I think that this could be a nice little trade, perhaps if it could break above resistance. So for right now, AHI, I'll put this on the main list to begin. Hopefully, it becomes a lot easier of a trade, at least across the next 90 minutes from right now. But we do have class on the horizon, folks, at 3:05 Eastern Time. We'll be finishing up the Phase 2 stock course. Today is also Wednesday, so I'll chirp a little bit about Bitcoin at the end, but let's rip it right from top to bottom. Let's see what else can make the afternoon watch list alongside this AHI. And again, of course, for any of the other big movers that we called out, did well on, traded at least like ABUS, we'll give a brief analysis. So ABUS, man, this one took me by surprise. There was a couple of stocks that took me by surprise today, but here's what I mean, and really it's just to say, this ABUS trade popped after 9 o'clock. It was moving up nicely into the open. That's not the surprising part. The fact it was moving up leading into the open is more of an encouraging thing to see this type of run up later on. But man, this took a while to get going. So the longer this took to get going, I lost confidence in the eventual run. So right when we finished up class at 11:30, 11:40 Eastern time, ended up jumping back to the cyber group room, and the stock was beginning to make its push at the time. So really the levels that I wanted to go over were basically the 50-cent levels and whole numbers here, 450 at first, but really from that point 5. Once it truly broke above the resistance at 5 here, I guess it took one little shake, but man, it took off from that point. 550, next big level above from that point there. Same thing happened. A couple of shakes, but it held direction, made another pop, and from that point took off beautifully. Now the same wasn't to be said at 6. It started to get real choppy and hairy around 6. It made this big break below 6 support. It's been holding underneath that price, I mean, pretty much since, and right now has only dropped off. This stock was actually easy to borrow earlier, and it was easy to borrow when it was beginning to pull back here. I came back from a coaching session. I was trying to go over this trade with one of our students, and I came back to it, and then I realized, well, I guess TradeStation made it hard to borrow. They made it limited inventory to try and short. But for right now, at least, given its volatility, I'll come back to this stock at the end. Perhaps if we could see this begin to build off of 5 a little bit more, maybe the run down will stop. Perhaps we'll have one more push up for the 100 or for the 274 plus million shares the stock is trading. At a minimum, I am thinking that this will be more exhausted than anything else. All right, so let's keep it going. We'll come back to this, like I had said, if we need to. The OP trade, geez, this is a wacky one also. New IPO from yesterday, and it was like all over the map yesterday. I think it got halted like 4 or 5 separate times, up and down, left and right. I mean, more than 4 or 5 you could see here. But nonetheless, I mean, this pushed up a lot higher in the morning, or in the morning in pre-market. So I was hopeful. I was hopeful to see this begin to, find a bottom, begin to make a nice bounce back up. Likewise with the AHI stock, this was just extremely choppy. I mean, it's hard to borrow, so you can't short it, obviously. But it's to say that this stock didn't really provide any sort of bounce opportunity for us. Maybe off of 8, the level I was looking at early in pre-market, and it was a ways away at the time, but $7. I was expecting this stock to find the bottom off of 7, and perhaps at that stage begin to make it squeeze up. Is it possible it could do that in the next 86 minutes? Maybe. It's got to drop down to 7 first, break under 7, then right back above. I want to see if there's others that are looking better right now at the time compared to this OP stock. Build a Bear Workshop. I don't know what the hell's going on here. Maybe earnings, but also just given the move, it's pretty choppy for a $22 trade. I'm going to pass on this. I don't know. I mean, it's up big, but That's not the only criteria that we look for at this time of the day. So we'll keep it going, see what else is out there. Another new IPO, and I guess now making a big drop, big shake. The beat trade here ended up coming out off its IPO on November 11th, 11/11. And I guess today ended up making a big pop up. I was hoping to see this stock closer to its highs at this time right now. So I don't know, kind of reluctant on this one too. This one I think we already looked at quickly. CNTX was the other one that took me by surprise. This one here. It was on our watch list, mind you, going into the market open, but like the ABUS trade, this one popped, it dropped, and this was all before the market opened up, whereas ABUS at least ran back up prior to the open. When you see a stock make this like pump and dump type of move, pop and drop, whatever you may call it, you really don't expect it to make an extended run all the way up higher later on, going in, especially going into like normally slow time of the day, lunchtime, late morning, early afternoon. So once I saw this begin to break its HOD, I was totally thrown off, wasn't expecting it. I guess you could say I missed out on a decent run, but didn't miss out for too long because the volume died off. This thing was a train wreck after. CNTX not doing much right now that we would want. So we'll see if there's anything else looking better. Man, it's like a chop fest right now. STRN, I guess it broke a high earlier, but just pretty sluggish, choppy. SRTS, STRN, SLHG, SDIG. I got a bunch of S's right here in tandem. I saw this Tom's trade called out earlier, and right now TOMZ is pretty close to its regular session high of the day off 210. I mean, it just practically double topped there. It's making an ugly shake back down right now. I'll put this on our list. This one will make the cut for right now, but I think I had said this yesterday on a stock that made the list because once I finished up, it unfortunately ended up tanking and breaking down and wasn't good. It's to say, hey, this is on our list for now. If this ends up completely tanking and going the other way, then I would just, take it off the list at that point. So, for right now, it makes the cut. We'll see otherwise afterwards. The IMGN trade, hey, this one definitely took me by surprise too. The news that came out yesterday afternoon on this trade was a common stock or direct stock offering. Normally, when that news comes out, the stock doesn't make this complete reversal and spike up even higher the next day, and especially not within like the moments after the market opens up. So this one was like a missile, took off pretty nicely, topped off right around 750-ish, broke above it by a hair and came back down. Right now, I feel like this stock is just more of a sideless stock than anything. It's like trying to squeak back up here a bit, but nothing really to write home about so far. All right, we got to make sure we go quick for class, right? And time's 2:38. I feel like I'm doing good on time, but let's see what else is out there. VTNR, not much there. Is this V? Oh no, my trader's dyslexia. I was thinking VXRT, not VRTX. For any one of us in the cyber room, that could be a nice little inside joke. All right, let's see what else is on the loser side here, seeing if there's anything looking just as volatile or just as good, if not better. The BYSI is the first thing, of course, we'll jump to, down just about 59%. Stock ended up getting hammered in pre-market. After the market opened up, hey, it provided another short opportunity for us. This stock was not hard to borrow. It was easy to borrow. So, and I say that even going into the mid-afternoon here, once it broke down below the 550 support, this thing just dropped off further, right? So, hey, it dropped all the way down towards a low here at the time. What is that, like 480? 479 the low, trying to make a squeak back up for right now. So this is tradable in both directions. I mean, hey, this might make a lower high, snap back down and keep dropping. If it doesn't, if it holds support here and namely above 5, then perhaps, I mean, for as much as this drop, perhaps there's a chance we could see this make a dead cat bounce again. So, yeah, put this on our list, the BYSI. The CTIC shortable, I don't know, not really moving too fast. Let's see if there's anything looking just as good. Hey, the market's dropped off quite a bit today, folks, or pulled back down, I should rather say. So, there could be a stock or two that's down big on the loser side here. Familiar name. I don't really see any so far. NKTX. Nah, not much going on there. All right, let me check out the cyber group room quick. I'll check YouTube pretty quick. I'll chirp about Bitcoin for a bit, and then we'll call it. So Norman says SPPI is a slow grind. It is. It's on a nice trend though, and it's got a liquid order book. Tight spread. I like that. This seems like a steadier, less choppier trade compared to the AHI and compared to the Build a Bear Workshop trade. So I like this. Good call. SPPI for right now. At least I'll put that on our main list. And then Udea saying inside Cybergroup that VBIV just broke 318. I don't know. Not really offering us up too much right there. For the amount of volume this stock traded today, comparative to what it trades on a day-to-day basis, like prior to today, I think this is pretty exhausted of a move. Again, you could say the same exact thing on the ABUS stock. You really can. And, I said I'd come back to this at the end of this meeting, so I didn't fully commit to it. Hey, if it's hard to borrow and if you can't short it, it just seems like it's just going to continue to drop. So I don't know. I'm pretty reluctant on putting this on our main list for right now. Granted, maybe at 3:15 in the afternoon, if this holds here and then makes another pop up to 5, maybe at that point you can call it out. But I think I'm going to pass here so far. All right, so I think that we're good to go across both ends on social media and in the cyber group room. Really quick, I'll bring up Bitcoin. Not a whole lot really has happened across the last 48 hours since I last talked about it. Here's my 1 hour chart. I like to show a 1 hour and a 6 hour mainly, and then otherwise I'll do like daily, weekly, monthly when needed. So it's just to say from the last time that we checked in on Bitcoin, just a chop fest up and down in between my 500 and my 200 EMAs here on the hour graph. Let me jump to the 6 hour chart here otherwise. And this is where we were most kind of watching Bitcoin recently, kind of seeing it hold perfectly above the 500 EMA on my 6 hour alongside this just straight trend line that was holding really well. So that was a pretty good buying opportunity. I'd mentioned to you folks that I don't think that we're going to be as likely to see this big elaborate pop up right out the gate unless if news comes out. I haven't had news come out. So, it's been a slow grind and a push back up, it seems. The part that I can comment on, though, with crypto, and I don't, really go into the others outside of, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano. If you want me to talk about Solana, I could do that. But it's just to say, Ethereum, take a look at this. Ethereum's making a huge climb back up over the last 2 to 3 days. Again, this is a 6 hour graph. So practically across the last 2 to 3 days, Ethereum's been on a huge run, ready to test all time highs again. So that's a pretty encouraging sign for Bitcoin, I believe. If the whole market, if Bitcoin was going to crash, the whole market going to crash, Ethereum, I think would have went with it. So, it might take a little bit longer on Bitcoin, but this is a pretty encouraging sign seeing the retracement back up on Ethereum. All right, we'll check in on some, Bitcoin stocks, I guess. Otherwise, we're not going to put them on our main list. Riot ended up taking a big hit today. More so moving with, looks like the SPY, the S&P otherwise, and the major indices collectively. Take a look at Mara, my BTBT trade, which I'm still swinging right now. I haven't added more shares to my position, and I definitely want to, but haven't done so yet. Maybe I'll do that by the end of the day today or perhaps tomorrow morning. We'll see. All right, folks, if there's anything else that you got from me, up, down, left, right, more than 5%, type it in the chat board. Making pretty good use of time, though, otherwise. We got class to wrap up later on today, or I should say coming up at 3:05 Eastern Time. Phase 2, lesson number 4. Very intricate class, very important class at the same time. Setting stops and taking profits. So a very live market-based class where we'll have a better chance to break down setting stops, managing trades, using stops to even enter a trade, perhaps. We'll talk a little bit about that too. All right, going once, going twice, going thrice. I don't have anything else, and I think that's good. We don't need to force any stocks on our watch list. If I touched upon them all, then that's good. I think we did a good job then. And then, of course, hey, once I finish up this audio broadcast at 3 o'clock, namely when Rich jumps back on the mic when he rescans the market himself at that stage, then we'll look to see if there's other movers outside of this list, and see if we can capitalize on. All right. For all of us not joining class, best of luck trading going into the market close. For all of us joining me in class, I'll talk to you in just about 20 minutes. Take care.